today's episode, I take my camera all the way to the end of the world. 2 days of wind,
So goddamn windy.
cold mornings, slippery rocks and beautiful lights, chasing sunrises, playing with compositions and finding out if this place is really the end or just the beginning of the next adventure. Let's get started.
Good morning and welcome to the end of the world. Let's go do some photographs. Close the doors. It's not many tourists here now, but I still don't want to walk away from a van with my doors open. You never know. But I'm actually not lying when I'm saying that we're at the end of the world. I'm not making a movie about disasters or anything, but we are actually at the end of the world. This place is called at the end of the world, so I'm not lying. That's what it's called here.
Since the thumbnail hinted at some rather expensive gear, I guess we should talk about it. In my backpack is a Hasselblad and a lens, together worth about the same price of a decent car. But the question is it really worth it? Or could I have done just as well with one of my older, cheaper cameras and lenses? Am I simply throwing money away? Well, the only way to find out is to head out and take a few photos with this rather fancy setup. You kind of have to do that before you can answer today's question. So I finally reached the end of the world, but why is it called the world's end? It used to have a normal name, Helgerutangen, not very dramatic. Then tourists showed up, looked at the ocean and said, yeah, this feels like the end of the world. The locals didn't agree. For sailors, this wasn't the end, it was the starting point. So today, world's end is either the edge of the world or where the adventures begin.
I found my first subject of today. That one over there. I think I'm going to use my 35 to 100 on my Hasselblad because I want a bit compression. I want that water to come closer in a way.
Alright, let's start with that fancy one. So first, I'll take the shot with my rather expensive Hasselblad setup. And then I try the same shot with my more affordable Canon setup. They both look pretty good, don't they? Have I really been seduced by the camera? I've always had a soft spot for Swedish design, but the difference can't really be that big, can it?
So goddamn windy. Well, I'm doing a few compositions of the sunrise, and I found this really cool shelter because it's so windy outside. My camera wouldn't stand still because I brought a kind of tiny tripod. I should have brought a heavy duty here, but I didn't. So, but when I have this kind of shelter, this tripod would do just fine. Well, the sunrise goes really, really fast, and I didn't manage to get that many pictures. I got a few, but there's always people standing in the frame, you know, when I was taking build of this building. And I know that because they want to see the sunset or the sunrise. But I wanted the sunrise and this building in the same frame. and that gives me loads of tourists in the frame as well. That's the bad thing about taking these photographs during the winter time, because the sunrise now is like 9 o'clock in the morning, but during the summertime, when the sun is coming up around 5 o'clock in the morning, there's not many tourists around here then. I think it's easy to work during the summertime because of that.
What really makes me love my Hasselblad isn't just the files. Yeah, you get the beautiful colors, great dynamic range and plenty of data to work with. But honestly, it's the feeling of using it. A bit like cars, some people simply feel more in a Porsche than in a Toyota. And in the end, that's really what it comes down to. So let's continue with a bit more photography and a little history about this place.
Sometimes it's quite cool to go with a really low angle when you have these kind of buildings. Well, it's not very big, but it emphasizes the shape. Maybe not the size, but at least the shape towards the sky when you take a really low and have the blue sky as a background instead. So let's try that.
Tipping lighthouses were used in Norway from the Middle Ages and well into the 1800s. They required constant supervision since the fuel had to be refilled frequently, especially in rough weather. But how did these lighthouses actually work? This type of lighthouses is called a tipping lighthouse, or vippefyr in Norwegian. Instead of a fixed lantern at the top, the light source hung in a basket at the end of a long wooden arm. To light it, the entire arm was lowered towards the ground. A lighthouse keeper could then ignite the fire safely, using wood or other fuel placed in the basket. Once the fire was burning well, the arm was lifted back up and secured with a chain. As darkness fell, the fire burnt brighter, casting a warm flickering light across the lighthouse, the surrounding rocks and the coastline.
But I'm doing a few exposures here as well when I'm kind of hiding the sun, kind of silhouetting the building with the sun in the background. And I'm doing loads of bracketing for that, just so I'm sure that I get all the exposures I need. Well, this national park is called Færder National Park, and what makes this different from the other national parks that we've been to, most of the other ones has been mountain areas, but this one is actually the main area that is within this park is actually beneath the water. So we got a few islands over here and this beautiful area that we've been walking a bit around today, but most of the park is actually underneath the water. And for those of you who's wondering why I'm not taking any photographs in my drone, well, that's true. That's why. You can see they have a sign here. This is a national park, and therefore it's not illegal to do any drone footage without the permission, obviously. So I do not have that permission today. So today it's not going to be any drone photographs. Well, I guess this place has been photographed so many times before, and I want to try something different. Probably been done plenty of times before, but I haven't seen it, and a normal tourist would never do this. So I think I want to go really low, because I want this camera almost to touch the water, because that's going to make this mirror-like water kind of show more of the landscape around it. So I'm also going to get my shadow in, because the shadow is really low now, so I'm probably going to get in as well, but I can always clone that out afterwards. I'm still a kid, I'm still playing around.
Well, I'm doing a few more before I go for dinner. You know me, I'm always gonna be late for dinner. This is really beautiful light, so I have to prioritize. Photography first, food second. That's why I'm so skinny. And finally, I listened to my stomach. When the light is gone, the photographer is done. A super burger and fries before the camper van call it a night.
Good morning. I'm trying to take some new morning photographs. I'm going back to the island, I think, but I didn't go out yesterday. There's a beautiful sunrise going on, hopefully. So that's what we're going to try. It's much colder today than yesterday. The road is quite slippery actually, so it's probably a few minus degrees. So hopefully I'm not gonna fall into the ocean on those slippery stones, you know. But it's the wind is really still today compared to yesterday, so I brought my crappy tripod again. Hopefully it's gonna do the trick. Well, I'm back here. Is it the third time or the fourth time? I'm not sure. But I want to try this in different lighting, you know. And this lighting is absolutely gorgeous. So I reckon I'm gonna get some good ones here. Hopefully. Get the lens cap off and off we go again. The light now is absolutely gorgeous. What do you think about this kind of lighting? Do you think it's a bit too much? Or, well, it is the reality, isn't it? But it's a bit cliche maybe, I don't know, but I love it.
Moments like this are when I really enjoy using this slightly fancy camera. I do like all my cameras, each for their own purpose, but this one feels a bit like taking a convertible out for a Sunday drive. It's less about practicality and more about the feeling, and that feeling is worth quite a lot.
Looks like I'm freezing, doesn't it? Well, it's kind of cold, but it's not really. I mean, it's late December. and normally it's much colder than now. But anyway, you gotta dress up for success, don't you? If you don't want to freeze, get your clothing on, you know. So that's what I've done. And I'm gonna go out there towards those islands. They're connected with a bridge and that kind of stuff, so on a footpath, so shouldn't be hard to get out there without drowning, without falling into the ocean, because it's quite slippery. But look at this, absolutely nice, you know, really nice. Look.
Sub-zero temperatures and moisture makes this pretty slippery, so it's best to walk along the side of the road, unless you're aiming for an unplanned water slide straight into the sea. And what a beautiful place. Just take it slow on the slippery rocks while pulling out the camera for a little work session. It's so much better here today than yesterday. No other tourists around, just these beautiful surroundings all to myself. A photographer's dream.
So, is it worth spending that much money on a camera? Yeah, if you saved long enough. Just don't remortgage the house for it, please. For me, that probably means no Porsche convertible anytime soon. I'll just keep driving my old Toyota for a few more years, with a Hasselblad by my side. Well, I guess I've reached the end of the world, and I hope you liked this episode. And I would like to see you in the next one.